As I've been casually researching more into the global chip shortage, a shortage that affects everything from video games to cell phones and even automotive industries, I've come to only one conclusion that is the cause of all of this, and it's not the pandemic. No, my dear viewers, the problem is greed. And I hear you saying, yes, those greedy corporations are creating this so they can increase profits by creating a scarcity. And while this may be true in some instances, if you can believe the reports from China, this is not the case for the majority of the shortage that is affecting the whole world right now. As the pandemic chugged along, leaving the Earth's population trapped in their homes with nothing to do, people did what they normally would do when they're bored. Eat, sleep, fuck, and most importantly, find entertainment. So you have all at once, people looking for new things to entertain themselves with. And wouldn't you know it, a brand new generation of gaming consoles and graphics cards are hitting the market. Look at all of those next-gen graphics like ray tracing, and wow, Spider-Man looks amazing. But maybe I need a new phone too. That new iPhone and Galaxy S is just around the corner. Maybe I'll spend that stimulus money the government is giving us on a new phone. So now millions upon millions around the world descend upon the internet shopping sites, hoping to be the first ones to get the new PS5 and Xbox or that new smartphone. This increase in demand drives up the hype surrounding these products, and it entices unsavory fellows like scalpers to enter the market as well, hoping to get a piece of the pie and make a small profit for themselves. But with this increase in customer demand, manufacturers became overwhelmed, unable to meet the demand. Delays and out-of-stock signs became a familiar sight, as product is being gobbled up by the eager masses within minutes or even seconds when they become available. And as this happens, the chip manufacturers became limited on who they can supply chips to first. They have to make a decision on which company is better for their bottom line. Will they make chips for Sony or Microsoft, Apple or Samsung, Ford or GM? One company will receive as many chips as they can manufacture, in turn putting those chips into a product that the consumer buys. The other companies who don't receive chips will flounder as they eagerly wait for their turn. But even when a company has the products ready to sell, it just isn't enough to meet demand. And when other companies have to wait, their profit margins dwindle. Ford has to stop selling cars because they need all the microchips they can get to finish the production of their vehicles. So many automotive manufacturers are sitting with half-finished cars and trucks in their warehouses. Apparently, the demand of consumers during this pandemic was such a surprise and so overwhelming that readily available product isn't ready or available anymore because everyone wants the same product all at the same time. What could have taken years to generate 1 million sales during a normal year could now take months or even days during this pandemic. And while the pandemic may seemingly be tapering off, at least I hope, the demand for these products hasn't lessened. The majority of people are still in their homes. Whether they're out of work or working from home, the demand for their entertainment is still driving the global chip shortage. Where are these people getting their money to buy all of these things is beyond me. Maybe everyone is dipping into their savings. Not a wise move. And so the pandemic isn't the issue of the chip shortage, nor are the corporations creating these products. And neither are the shipping boats that were backed up because of that one boat that was stuck for a few months. No, the reason the global chip shortage is happening, and why it will continue to happen for a few years more, is because of us. Or at least the people that want what they want when they want it. People who have and want more. Let's be real, the hardest companies hit by the chip shortage are industries of privilege. Industries that, if we were honest with ourselves, don't need these computer chips right now. Think about it. Do people really need a new smartphone right now? Do you really need to upgrade it for slightly better performance in things that you're already doing? Does Ford really need these computer chips so they can have a touchscreen in their dashboard? Isn't the whole point of driving a car is driving the car? Do you really need to upgrade your PC to get more frames per second in games? Or to watch multiple YouTube videos in 4K? Are the majority of consumers in the entertainment field developing video games and animated films? And if you are creating video games, do you really need more power than what is already available? From what I've seen, most video games today are indie games with pixel graphics that aren't really pushing the hardware that much. And when you see a lot of the next-gen games coming out, they still don't look that much better than last gen's offerings. And even much of the games coming out are cross-gen, meaning most of the games won't look that much better than their last gen counterpart. God of War on PS5 doesn't look that much better than the one on PS4. The new Horizon, same thing. And Xbox's games are multi-generational as well, meaning that a lot of games this generation will be subpar to what we expect a new generation of graphics should produce. I have no doubt that graphics will get better over time in this generation of consoles and graphics cards, but did we really need a new generation right now? These companies can say that they sold many millions of consoles, but I doubt this very much. This time last generation, you could expect to buy a PS4 or Xbox One in store and even online, and they weren't even close to reaching 15 million units sold, which means that more people all at once decided that now is the time to buy. Now is the time to hoard and scalp customers. Now is the time that I need these products because I'm stuck at home bored. But no, you don't need these things. What you had was already perfectly fine a week ago. But now that a new shiny product is presumably available, you need it? The chip shortage should never have happened, but with everyone becoming greedy for a new toy, for things they didn't need right away, we have come to the only possible outcome. And about the only solution to the shortage is for people to stop buying shit. Stop buying shit you don't need. That phone you have is perfectly fine for another 2 to 3 years. It won't be outdated. I haven't updated my iPhone 7 and it still works after all of these years. I'm still able to make phone calls, I'm still able to go on the internet, to watch YouTube and Instagram and play games on it for the most part. My PC on the other hand does need an upgrade, but I'm out of luck with that because of the chip shortage. But I can still produce videos and play most games that come out. I'm still not in a huge rush to spend thousands of dollars on a new system. Ray tracing is not that even widely implemented and might not be for a few years. And as for cars, I don't really drive anymore. Not like there was anywhere to go for the past 2 years, with the lockdowns and all. And I don't need a touchscreen with GPS in my car. Wasn't everyone worried about driving and texting a few years ago? Yet you have this huge touchscreen and dashboard anyway? If I'm driving a car, I want to drive the car. I want to feel the excitement of driving. All of the chips necessary should be for the car's performance, and not for some giant tablet screen on front of my dashboard. And from what I've been hearing, the main issue with not being able to finish production on vehicles is because they don't have enough chips to finish their stupid touchscreens. Or maybe that's just an excuse for all of the cars that aren't being sold due to nobody being able to go out anywhere. Why buy a car if you're trapped in your home because the government said so? Basically what I'm trying to say is that all of this chip shortage has to do with companies trying to advance technology unnecessarily, because greedy consumers want the newest technology right away. Technology that isn't any better than what they already had and could do with waiting a few more years to get. By then the technology will actually be an advancement and people could actually buy the thing because the pandemic and lockdowns will be over. Half the people in the world will go back to work or school and not worry about buying something that really isn't that important right now. And the other half would actually be able to buy the product as usual. Part of why I decided to make this video is from the frustration of not being able to buy a PS5. I almost wanted to blame the scalpers for hoarding the systems, but then I realized that they're always going to be a nuisance, and the scalpers aren't going away. But who enables them? The consumers who want the product. They feed off of the hype of the demand. And so I had to look at myself. Am I feeding into this by wanting a PS5? Yes. But do I need a PS5 right now? No. As much as I want to play all of the new games coming out, it isn't a necessity. And as I said in another video, the generation is just way too expensive to keep up with. So whether I wanted to or not, I really did have to wait a year before getting into this generation of gaming. But even so, I may be waiting even longer due to the greed of consumers. A greed that I almost bought into. But that's my 2 cents on the matter. I just think that if everyone would just wait a little longer, the chip manufacturers will be able to recuperate and be able to meet demand at a normal pace. And things can finally get back to normal. And a lot of this chip shortage is really due to just people's wants, not their needs. Maybe things would have been better if PS5 and Series X launched in 2024 instead. Or if Nvidia and AMD would have held off on ray tracing graphics cards for the time being. It's not like many video game developers are using it, or using it to any great effect in games. I mean, I'm still waiting to be impressed.
I'm waiting to be impressed.
And as much as I would love to buy a car, I don't need a $35,000 car that could and should be at least $15,000 if it didn't have to have a giant touchscreen or GPS crap in it. And I didn't even touch on electric vehicles, which at this point is a hugely unnecessary thing to produce, and I feel is actually worse for the environment in the long run. Something that electric vehicles are supposed to help alleviate. I'm sorry, but if you're still producing electricity with fossil fuels, you aren't really helping the environment no matter what the marketing is telling you. And let's be clear, the computer chip shortage is only the tip of the iceberg. There are shortages in all areas of industry, from chip shortages to food shortages to shipping container shortages. Basically, any industry you can think of is affected by some sort of shortage. And with that, prices fluctuating higher and higher. Is this inflation? Maybe, but it might just be inflationary, as in the inflation of higher prices to ship and sell goods is manufactured, or fake. There may be no reason for the prices to be as high as they are, and there may be no reason for the shortages, but there are shortages anyway. Why? I think it's greed, simple as that. You can find triggers for why it's happening and reasons for cause and effect that affect the marketplace, but it's still greed. Greedy consumers who need to chill on having to buy everything and anything because it's new. Greedy scalpers taking advantage of the consumers. And greedy corporations, greedy governments, greedy financial institutions manipulating marketplaces, all because they can. And they have the perfect scapegoat, the pandemic. All the failures that would have been seen in a more reasonable light are now tainted by this event. And some might say this non-event. That was the perfect storm to cover up the problems created by lousy policies created by the leaders of the world. But I digress, and that might be a topic for another video. But what do you think? Is this much ado about nothing, or do I have a point? Are the worldwide shortages brought on by greed? I'd really like to hear what you have to say. Anyway, till next time.